Hello friends, welcome to night 42 of Fun with Cheese. Once again I find you meeting me here outside the venison bunker in the receiving area with my good friend Mr. 36-inch Cabela's pellet smoker. In case you're wondering, pellet smokers fire off of these things called pellets. Pressed sawdust, and this happens to be a hardwood competition blend that is Pit Boss, but you know, we use all kinds of different things. You can use apple, you can use mesquite, you can use oak, whatever you want. I prefer competition blend because it has a hickory and a bunch of other things mixed together. Tonight's meal, I smoked some burgers, and then for a little change up, we kicked it back a couple nights, and I went with a smoked cheddar that I got. Now that was the smoked cheddar with the smoked powder infused in it. Remember, we throw it across the curd when it's getting salted, and we add that smoked flavoring in there. Really good cheese and a really good burger. So we could call it a double deuce. I have no idea. It's double smoked. But we definitely do have fun on the pellet grill. Burger came from Cemetery Ridge Farm, the Canoyer Ranch, which tonight we want to give a shout out to them because Rich and Marilyn are celebrating their 46th wedding anniversary. That's right, tonight, 46 years ago today, they hit a pheasant with the Chevelle. The band was hiding gasoline because there was gas rationing going on. They were hiding gasoline from here to New Ulm, Minnesota, so they'd stop by and fuel up their vehicle. Gas was probably about the same price at that time 46 years ago because there was such a boom and bust situation going on in the fuel situation. Dad had to go pick up half barrels at Nick's Bar in downtown Vesper, now known as JoJo's, and it's been JoJo's for quite some time. But Nick's Bar was a staple in Vesper, as it still is now. That's a place where you used to go and be able to have a drink and you get a kiddie cocktail and things like that. We used to sit down there, but now we're just hoping for some time to get back. So that's my one shout out. My parents, congratulations, 46 years, an awesome time. And if you know them, please call. That means the most to my mother. Please call or drive by and honk. Facebook is not her favorite thing in the world and would just much rather have a phone call. I'm not going to put her phone number out there. But if you do have her phone number, give her a call and wish them a happy anniversary. Friend of the show tonight, I wanted to explain these things. As you see the planters out in the fields, you're going to see different signs like DeKalb, Pioneer, Dairyland, Mallard. There's lots and lots and lots of seed corn out there, and so this little sign with a number like 4310 or whatever is a variety of seed. DeKalb celebrated their 100th anniversary in 1912, and they were founded by a group of farmers, bankers, and newspapermen led by Henry Park in DeKalb, Illinois. And the association started as the lack of seed laws and their desire for superior seed genetics in the early 1900s. So if you imagine it, they would take their corn, they'd go out in the field, and they'd shuck the corn, save it, and plant that the next year. Flash forward about 20 years, and in 1934, the group was led by Charles Gunn and Thomas Roberts. The association offered its first hybrid seed corn. That's where we take two varieties, breed them together, and get a superior variety. At that time, there was only 1% of all the seed in Illinois and Iowa that was hybrid seed corn. 10 years later, 99% of the seed corn that was planted was a hybrid seed corn. And so that's a really cool thing, is it's still hybrid seed corn today. We've been messing with the genetics of those seeds and cross-pollinating those plants. You'll see detasselers and stuff go out there and they'll pull the tassel out, and that's the male portion that then fertilizes the female portion, which is the silky ear part there. And that's a little fun fact too. You know how many kernels are in an ear of corn? There is one silk for every kernel on that cob. It's kind of cool. Number of kernels around is an even number, always will be, but the length of the kernels then, that's determined on Mother Nature and a few other factors. So they their winged logo here The winged ear corn has been a logo since 1936, and they have phone apps. You can do all kinds of wonderful things, and lots of people around here plant DeKalb, lots of people plant Pioneer, but just know that these little seeds are in the ground. They do a lot of stuff for the farmer, and it will make their year depending on the type of genetics they have. They grow different varieties down south, they grow different varieties out in Colorado, they grow different varieties in North Carolina than we do here in Wisconsin. If we tried to grow a 120-day corn variety here in Wisconsin, it wouldn't make it. So we have to have somewhere in that 70 to 90, 95-day corn here in order for it to make it. And this corn is different than the sweet corn you buy. It's still hybridized, but they end up, they're specialty companies that breed in that sweetness here. These guys, a little starchy, not so sweet. But you want to know where I find this information? It's not coming from the top of my head. You can go to any company website and find their history. So I'm not some sort of wizard here. I'm just a really cool storyteller, according to me. But you can find this stuff anywhere, right there. So our friend that is visiting with us tonight had it start in, the company had it start in 1942. And we talked to his friend Leonard Gentine a couple of weeks ago, the guy who came up with the block cheese. Leonard Gentine and Joe Sartori, or Paolo Sartori, formed Sargento. So I wanted to tell a little story about Sartori tonight and the product that we call Bellavitano. Okay, so in 1942 they were founded, and Sartori was the guy who came up with the first curd machine. Kind of interesting there. But in 53, Sartori and Gentine came up with Sargento and their own little cheese variety there. And Joe later sold his interest back to Gentine, and he was a very philanthropic man. But he pioneers the freshly grated, all-natural Parmesan cheese with a longer shelf life. So that Parmesan cheese that you get, that's all freshly grated, long shelf life, that's Sartori. They changed the name to SR Cheese Company to Sartori Foods, and the foundation, they have a foundation for cheese scholars and funding things like CDR and things like that. But Anigo Cheese Company was purchased by Sartori Foods and became a manufacturer of this wonderful thing that we see here. Now, this guy here, he's only been around for a very short time. The Bellavitano that you will see in the stores is a relatively cool cheese because it's a Romano, it's a hard Parmesan-based cheese, all on its own. It's not, we don't go look for Romano, but you can grate this stuff. They patented the name and the variety of cheese. It's cow's milk, and it was introduced in 1999 by Bellavitano Gold, which we have here. And there's a number of different flavor varieties. It's won a lot of international and national awards like the World Cheese Championships and things like that. It is considered a hard cheese. Now this has been sitting in my car for a long period of time today, so it's a little bit softer, but we put it in refrigeration. You're going to slice this thing. You can take, here's a little fun fact with the Parmesan cheese. You can take an apple peeler to get slices, and you can just take that apple peeler on there and it'll peel that cheese right off. It's kind of sweet. This stuff was made a year ago. Now, not as old as our 15-year, but was aged for a year. And it's formed in wheels, okay? So this thing is going to be about that wide. And then it has a wheel, so it's going to be doubly thick. And then they age it and with the affinage on planks, and they'll coat it with different flavorings on the outside. Now, this one happens to be cracked pepper. So it's got a little pep to that Romano Parmesan-style cheese. Now, the cool thing is they make a lot of different varieties, and I'm going to go over some of the varieties they have, but the original was inspired by a traditional Italian farmstead starting out like Parmesan. It's rich and creamy and light fruity notes and a sweet and tangy finish. The crunch comes from calcium lactate crystals. Aging, right? Calcium lactate? We talked about aging before. Balsamic Bellavitano is immersed in a 6-year-old Italian balsamic vinegar. So they immerse it in there to give it that flavor on the outside, still keeping the nice cheese in the inside. Black pepper is hand-coated with a premium coarse ground pepper and the salty, spicy bite contrasts with the creamy fruitiness of the Bellavitano. Merlot, those of you wine drinkers out there, I know you do, they will dip this into Merlot wine. And so you'll have a purpley rind on it, and it gives you cheese and wine. Raspberry Bellavitano is in a tart raspberry ale, giving it a distinct fruity flavor. Chai is hand-coated with chai spice, including black tea, ginger, and cinnamon. Espresso, they dip it in coffee. Okay? Bellavitano is pretty sweet. So there are... This one, I had a Tennessee whiskey that was in the case there. There's so many of these. I can't eat them all in one day. It's impossible. There's Tennessee whiskey. They have a Wisconsin one, the old-fashioned dip. They put it on the outside here. That's a real fun one, too. But don't be afraid of Bellavitano. This goes really good on a cheese plate, not a cheese tray. When you carve this thing off, remember it's a hard cheese, so it's going to crumble up. You can make cubes out of it. But it's kind of fun to put this just on a plate with a couple chunks there, and then you can stab it with your toothpick. But don't be afraid of Bellavitano. The packaging, it's aseptically sealed and shrink wrapped, so it's going to last for a long time, sit in your fridge. It's a harder cheese, so it's not going to mold really easy because there's lack of moisture in there. But the Bellavitano, it's a fun one. I was happy to introduce it to you on night 42. We have some other fine cheeses coming up in the coming week. I figured out how to take this Facebook Live video and then put it into Facebook. So 39, 40, and 41 are now on YouTube if you haven't checked those out. Under my name if you want to search for YouTube. But we're having a lot of fun. I hope you are too. It's good to see you every night. I got to go to a meeting. We're having some sort of park meeting here coming up. So I got to jump off of this, hop onto that. You guys stay classy. Remember that milk made into cheese is milk's step into immortality. Be good. We'll see you tomorrow.